The Santa Dash is coming back to town. Join Beatson Cancer Charity this year at the Santa Dash at Glasgow Green on the 8th of December, 2024. Run, jog, walk or hop on your sleigh. It's time to do your festive 5K. Registration for the Glasgow Santa Dash is now open.
Hello, I'm Laura Boyd and welcome to another episode of Beatson Talks, where I am delighted to be joined by John Allison of the K9 Way. John, thank you so much for being here. I'm surprised you're here because you did a massive challenge at the weekend. Before we get on to that though, tell us a bit about yourself and why you're undertaking these challenges.
Well, thanks very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be asked to be on the podcast. So the reason I've taken on the challenges was it all started out when I booked onto my first marathon, which takes place in May next year, and I had signed up to do that for the Beatson. And when you sign up for it, obviously there's a certain amount of money you have to raise, and I thought, well, why not go all out and let's try and raise as much money as possible by doing multiple challenges between me signing up May or June to then being able to finish it on the Edinburgh Marathon in May next year. And the reason I chose the Beatson was I feel that we all have a connection or someone close to us that's been treated within the Beatson or has had cancer. Mm-hmm. So I feel that was a charity that was relative to so many others.
And do you have first-hand experience of that, John? Have you got people you know that have been through the Beatson?
Well, currently right now my children's uncle is being treated in the Beatson for brain cancer. I have a client who's been treated not for cancer but for another condition. She's treated in there on a weekly, fortnightly basis. And a friend of mine's child's mum was also treated in the last couple of years in the Beatson. So I have a lot of people kind of close to me that are obviously seeing the benefits of what the Beatson actually can do.
And as you say, if you're from Glasgow or many parts of Scotland, you are going to know someone who's been there. And
I honestly think that everybody has some form of connection with the Beatson. You just need to ask somebody, and very quickly they'll be like, oh, I had a friend or an elderly relative or anybody at all. There's always a connection with what the Beatson does.
So John, you decide to take on this challenge, but as you say, this is not just any challenge, because for most of us we'd be like, I'm going to run a marathon. For me, I'd be like, I'm going to run a 5K. That's a big deal. but a marathon's a goal. But you think, no, that's not enough. You're going to do numerous things in the lead up to it. So tell me about the first one you did.
So the first one I done was a race I'd ran last year, which was the Glasgow 10K, which up until last year, since I'd left the army, was my longest run that I'd ever done. And when I'd done it last year, I was that tired after it, I actually went home and had to go for a sleep. That it was a massive thing for me to have done, to have went and done 10K. So that was my first one of this year, which then led on to me signing up for the others. And now 10K is something that I would do just as an easy run for the week.
Oh, John, you show off.
It doesn't feel like it at times, but when you look back at it, it's amazing though, because when we speak to so many people in the gym that I go to, everybody's constantly pushing each other, and that's where it all kind of started. The first gym I went to was a gym not far from here, actually. A friend of mine owns it, Jerry, AFIC Glasgow it's called. That there was a kind of start of my training taking a real step up. Through a new sport called High Rocks. That's where it all kind of started. And I'm doing 2 High Rocks as part of the kind of fundraiser.
And if people don't know what High Rocks is, I mean, they take place like what, at the SCCC and everything?
Have one kind of once a year in Glasgow, and it's a functional fitness race. You've got 8 different events within it, alongside just over 8 kilometres of running. And when I'd first done that, at that point, that was one of the hardest things I had done. Yeah. And they're a great sense of achievement. And one of the great things about doing the High Rocks is that, as crazy as it seems, anybody can do them because you're only racing yourself.
Oh,
so as much as, there's guys out there doing them in crazy quick times, there's also other people doing them in 2.5, 3 hours because they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it to race the quickest guy who trains in the gym every single day and lives and breathes it. So it is one of those sports that is, as hard as it is, anybody can do it as long as you're training for it. But within those gyms, the guys and girls within it, they're always pushing you to be better, always pushing you to want to do more. And that's what kind of led me to now, in the gym that I do go to now in Paisley, they love an ultra marathon in there. And that's kind of what's led me on to doing these next challenges.
Right. What is an ultramarathon? A marathon sounds terrifying enough for me.
So an
What is
ultramarathon
ultra?
is just anything over a marathon distance.
Right.
So the marathon distance is 26.2 miles. So anything over that then becomes an ultramarathon.
Okay.
The first ultramarathon I'd done was the Highlands, which is a mountain trail run from Tyndrum to Fort William. And at that point, that was, as many times on that, I thought, my goodness, this is so hard. However, when I was on it, so 45 kilometres into it, my left knee went and it was excruciating pain. And a lot of people were saying, just stop. And I said, the only thing that kept me going is obviously I had signed up to do it for the fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept on thinking to myself, you've only got a sore knee, you don't have cancer. Just keep going. And that was with me. I just kept pushing, got all the way to the end. And that's what everybody said at the end. How did you do it? I said, well, people have given me their money towards this fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a condition that stops me from doing these things. So that was why I pushed through, and it kind of kept me going in that race. But 70 kilometres over the Devil's Staircase in the mountains in Glencoe certainly was a challenge.
Oh my goodness, I can only imagine. And the weekend there, you did the 3 peaks.
Yep.
As well. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, explain.
So the 3 peaks is the UK's 3 highest peaks: Ben Nevis in Scotland, Scafell Pike in the Lake District, and Snowdon in Wales.
In less than 24 hours.
So the challenge is to do it in less than 24 hours, and thankfully we done it in 23 hours.
I mean, that's amazing.
But
I did Ben Nevis and it took me the good part of a day to do just that.
Well, after doing Snowdon, I think I would do Ben Nevis 10 times over. Getting lost on Snowdon in the middle of the night, pitch black, can't see 5 feet in front of you, certainly wasn't nice. So if it wasn't for getting lost, we would have been under the 22 hours, which would have been fantastic. But still, to do it in the 23 hours was great. And
John, it must give you a massive sense of achievement at the end of these things. Do you get a buzz from it? Oh, definitely. The feeling of completing these things it's massive, to go out there and do things that, for me, it's all about doing what the average person can or not necessarily can't do, but won't do. A lot of people will say to me, oh, I couldn't do that or I couldn't do this. And that's what kind of gives me that wee kick. Well, I've done it. Yeah. And we move on to the next thing. And the next thing, that kind of comes from my earlier days in the army, always pushing to try and be the best and that you can be. And that's the way I've kind of always lived my life. But with these challenges, the biggest thing for me is doing what the average man won't do. Yeah. And you're doing it, as you say, for such a good cause. And when you have those tough times, do you think of those people that are attending? Definitely, and that's what, when we were on the Devil Highlands, for example, and my knee was, the pain, as I said, the pain was excruciating. But at that point, I thought, I don't have brain cancer. I don't need to look at my kids at night time and think, we're potentially counting more days here that we could have left. I only have a sore knee. Yeah. So they people really spur you on. But we're doing it for them at the end of the day, and that's what's the most important thing. And how much are you hoping to raise? So I've set a target for May. I've set the target at 5,000, and I'm currently at 2,200. So we're well on the. You are well on the way. And to be fair, I haven't actually pushed it the way that I will push it as time goes on. I wanted to get a few challenges under my belt first, and then I can start knocking on some doors to get the ones with the big money at, and hopefully we can beat that 5,000. But no, it's been great so far to obviously raise the 2,200, already. And the Beatson will be so incredibly grateful for that. Have you managed to be in to the hospital to see any of the work, or are you hoping to do that? Well, I've never been in it, which is a good thing. To be fair, I've never even visited it, as I say. But in terms of going there, if I was asked to go down, probably at the end of this, then I'd maybe go and present the cheque to them or whatever it may be. But I would leave that up to them to decide. But no, it's not a place that I've been. However, the people that I do know that go there, the things that they say about it is,
unbelievable. The care that people get. A friend of mine, he does a lot of work in a Glasgow, well, it's a Glasgow owned restaurant, but they have them all over the UK, and they just the big ball for the Beatson actually. So it was his child's mother that was treating the Beatson. So with that, he's told me a hell of a lot about where the money goes. And
it's a 6 by Nico.
Yeah. So he does my friend does all the Venetian plastering that's in the 6 by Nico throughout the whole of the UK. So he's told me a lot of things that, about the Beatson, what the money goes to, and the difference that it makes. So for me, that's massive.
I think that's the thing. I think when I was first diagnosed, I had no idea how much the hospital and the facilities rely on fundraising.
Yeah.
And I think you don't realise that, but actually your money and everyone who raises money will make such a massive difference, which must be...
Well, it's huge, but I think the thing for me is that I had a client probably about 18 months ago, and before they came back to Glasgow, they lived down south, and the doctor that they got diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor that was treating them says to them, do you have a place to go back in Scotland? And they said yes. And he said, I would actually recommend that you move back home to be treated by the Beatson, because it's the best care that you'll get in the UK. And that was why they ended up back here. That person is obviously still well, and that's why they became a client of mine. But they came back to Glasgow for that,
specifically
for that care, for the Beatson. Yeah.
Well, it is an absolutely amazing place, and I think we should definitely get you in to see around. And we could sign you up for Off the Beatson track. Have you heard of that?
I think, was that just recent? Was that? I
it
think
was
it was
recently,
recent,
but we could do it next year. They'll be doing it again.
I definitely seen it.
You'll probably do it in about 5 minutes. It's a 10k walk, but
just because I can go the distances doesn't mean that we always go very quick. To be fair,
well, I host it, John, so I want to see you coming through that finish line first, right? And I'll give you some money for that.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people faster than me.
But it's a brilliant day out, and it's so many people actually of all abilities. There's kids, there's dogs, there's everything. People take part in it because they do want to give something back to the charity, just like you're doing. From a fitness level, you obviously look incredible, work out, and stuff. I mean, that can be quite important as well, obviously for health, and when you're going through cancer treatment, it's probably like the last thing you feel like doing. But actually, small steps towards your fitness can make a massive difference, can't they?
I think for everything in life, just the gym, obviously this whole thing is about those suffering with cancer, but what the gym can do for anybody, people's own mental health, etc., or when people are going through something such as cancer, their own mental health can take a bit of a dip. So being in the gym, the difference that it makes to people is, incredible. But just being fit and well in the gym, the difference that it can make to your life overall is massive. And that's what obviously keeps me doing it. Before I go to work in the morning, I go into the gym. That's me ready to start my day. That's why I go. I don't always enjoy being in the gym. There's days that I go and I think, I'd rather be anywhere but here.
Yeah.
But we go in, just get it done. And as I said before, the classes that we go to in these kind of functional gyms, as soon as you get there, the people they just spur you on. That's it, the support that you get.
And there's that thing as well, isn't there, of, as you say, like with the high rocks, it's not trying to beat anyone else. It's just bettering yourself.
For me though, in life, I've got no interest in being better than anybody else. I just want to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all we can ever be. But with all these sports, you're just competing with yourself. When you start focusing on beating other people, that's when you start to fall back. But as long as you can be better than you were yesterday, then you'll continue to progress in life, and eventually, you'll get to where you want to be. And
there's that saying, isn't there? I think, like, you'll never regret a workout.
No, that's it.
As much as you say, like, my alarm goes off at 6 a.m. sometimes, and I think, oh no, I don't want to do this. But you come out and you feel great.
Especially now, see the dark mornings are back.
It's so hard.
And you think, oh my days, this weather just kills you. But 2 weeks ago, I was working in Dubai, and I've never got up so easily in the morning in my life. See, waking up and the sun was shining. It was unbelievable. And then I came back here and the alarm goes off and I can hear the rain outside, and I'm thinking, oh no.
But you won't regret it.
Well, that's it. See, if you do go back to sleep, and as soon as you wake up, you've meant to get up at, say, 5:30. You get up at 7. You go, I wish I went to the gym.
Yeah.
But you don't go to the gym and go, I wish I stayed in bed this morning.
Next time I go to turn off my alarm, I'm going to go be more John.
To be fair, I'm saying that, but I struggle in the mornings. I'm not sitting here saying I spring out of bed. I struggle in the mornings. But as you say, once you get to the gym and you've got it done and you start your day, feel fantastic.
You feel
and
good.
if I don't go, then these challenges are going to be a hell of a lot harder than they already are.
So what other ones have you got coming up?
So my next one's in just under 2 weeks. It's probably my hardest weekend, although that one I've just done there was the hardest to this point. My next one is the Glasgow to Edinburgh ultra marathon.
So you're running Glasgow to Edinburgh?
Which is 92 kilometres.
Oh my goodness.
And as crazy as it seems, I've convinced myself that this is actually easier because the Devil of Highlands was only 70k, but it was over the mountains, so this must be easier because it's on the flat. That extra 20k.
I've cycled that before and it's horrendous, never mind.
I think the biggest part of that will just be the mental challenge, the mental battle of plodding along a flat canal path, just looking forward to the next checkpoint, to seeing people that I've got with me fill up my vest before I go again. So I'll get that done, and then on the Sunday I'm doing the Glasgow half marathon. So
wait a minute, you do that
weekend,
on
Saturday the 5th, and on Sunday the 6th I do Glasgow half marathon.
Oh my goodness.
So the hill at the start of that half marathon is not going to be nice.
Honestly, like, where can we sponsor you? Because that is a lot. And then you keep on going from there. What
so
else
my
have you
next one
signed up
after
for?
that, I have High Rocks in Dublin.
Right.
And then I have a break over the Christmas period, which will be nice.
Lucky you.
However, there's a high chance I'll sign up for other things. This is just what I've signed
The
up
Santa
for.
Dash.
That's through Glasgow Green. And then into next year, I have the Ultra X, which is a 50 kilometre ultra marathon on Loch Ness. Then I have High Rocks in Barcelona, and finishing up in May with the Edinburgh Marathon, which was the original fundraiser. So we've done that plus the rest of them.
What do you think that moment's going to feel like when you cross that finish line in Edinburgh, knowing, hopefully, that you've smashed your target for the Beatson?
I always feel that, see, when I do these things, everything I've done, right, so I go and do it, come off the 3 peaks, felt amazing, but see the very next day, I always feel like such an anticlimax that's it done. So I feel like when I finish in Edinburgh, there'll be the great sense of achievement of completing all these things, raising the money, but then I think, well, that's it done now. What do I do now? And that's something that I probably struggle with myself, is that I don't just enjoy that moment. I'll always be thinking,
the next.
Oh, what's next? I could have done more. I could have raised more. So the feeling of completing it all and raising as much money as possible will be amazing, and to see that go to such good use will be massive. But it'll probably be the next day I'll be right, what's next?
what can I do now? Oh, the Beatson will be delighted, I'm sure, if you continue to support them. What has the reaction been like from people when you've told them that you're doing all this and the reason you're doing it, for this charity?
When I tell people that I'm doing it, the first thing they always say is, you're mad.
Why? I know.
Why are you running so far? Why are you doing it? But then when I tell them what it's for, and then you kind of get past that initial part, most of them will have a connection that's been there. Mm-hmm. And most of them have also been said the same as you said, where can I sponsor you? Yeah. And that's obviously what we're looking for. But as I said before, the big thing for me is I want to do something that other people say, that's mad, or that's crazy. I couldn't do that. Because then once you do achieve it, that's where I get that feeling within, right, okay, I've done something that other people won't do. Yeah. And long gone are the days we used to go on a sponsored walk for Paisley to Lochwinnock to raise money. You've got to put yourself out there now.
Take it a step further. But there are still things like, as we say, like the off the Beatson track and things that are accessible for everyone.
Or it's huge. Even, like, I see people now, as much as for me, I'm doing these long distances, we're going over the hills, etc. There is people out there that running 5k is a massive achievement for them, and I think what a lot of people forget is that 5k is a very decent distance. Yeah. And if you're out there doing 5k, then you're doing more than a lot of people. I'm sure I read online something like 1% of the world's population runs. So if you're doing 5k, you're doing a lot more than a hell of a lot of other people. So just getting to that point is massive, and that achievement enough. And if it is only 5k that you're getting to, or even if you're doing the 5k walks, you're still doing something. And that's what matters. You're doing what you can do. And there'll be other people out there that maybe physically they're not in a position that they can go further.
Yeah.
And 5K is well within, that's the absolute limit of their physical capabilities. And for me, that's huge. I'm just fortunate enough to be in a position right now that my body will let me do it. That might not always be the case, or it isn't the case for others. So,
well, John, you've inspired me now, right? But I mean, I'm one of those people who I like to put my trainers on. I can walk for like a wee bit, run for a wee bit, but I'm pretty hopeless. But I need a goal. I need drive. So what would your advice be for someone like me who wants to get into something? I would love to do something to raise money for the Beatson. So how can I get into something?
With the running side of things, you'll never, like you said about the gym, but the runner's high can never be beaten. Like when you finish a run, the feeling that you get is fantastic. And like you said there, just by running and walking, setting little goals to get to that 5K of a solid run is massive. Pick a nice route to go on. A place that I quite enjoy running actually is along the Clyde, from the kind of tall ship right through Glasgow Green, running along the river. On a nice day, it's a great run, and before you know it, you could put a podcast in your ears, and
podcasts are great for it.
That's
the
it.
Beatson podcast, even better.
Exactly. But by putting that podcast in, that's what you're focused on. And before you know it, I've done that. That's that distance done. But setting a target is always worthwhile. And in Glasgow, in Edinburgh, there's that many races throughout the year: 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. That many that can be signed up for. Pick one in the future. Get the shoes on, tie up the laces, and start hitting the tarmac.
Right, you've inspired me. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign up.
I'll see you at the Edinburgh Marathon.
Well, I'll cheer you on at the end. I don't know if I'll be at the start. But no, that it is like, it's true. It's having a goal, isn't it?
That's it.
And that sense of doing something, as you say, it's great for you because you love to push yourself. But how do you think it's going to feel knowing that your money is going to go so far? How does that make you feel?
Well, I think for me, if it can make a difference to one person, that's all that matters. It's absolutely huge. But with the Beatson being on my doorstep, being able to see where it goes and what it actually does is, it's massive. And knowing people that are being treated in there or have been in the Beatson for treatment and come out the other side, it's quite clear what that money can do. So for me, that's even now, knowing that at some point between now and May, that money will go to the Beatson, and it will make somebody's life that little bit easier in the difficult time that they're obviously experiencing.
Yeah, well, you're doing an amazing thing. We can't wait to hear how you get on. And we'll see you at that finish line in Edinburgh and off the Beatson track. I'm going to hold you to that one.
I'll be there, don't worry, I'll be there.
You can dress as like Bella the Bee or something. And
you never told me it was fancy dress before I agreed to it.
That's the added challenge.
That's it.
You've got to do it.
To be fair, when you see all these big runs, you see people running and stuff,
know.
And I think I'd rather just run in my shorts and t-shirt. That'll do me.
Well, that's your extra challenge for the Beatson one. But listen, I know the Beatson are delighted to have your support, and it's an amazing thing you're doing. And thank you so much for doing that and inspiring so many others. Thank you.
No problem. I think I've got the easy bit. I just need to do the running. It's the other people
Easy.
That's giving it's the people that's donating the money that are obviously the real kind of stars of this, because they are the ones. If without their sponsorship, then it would just be me running. So without the sponsorship, so for everybody that has sponsored and supported it, they are so important to everything that we're trying to do.
Well, listen, let's hope they dig deep for you, and good luck with your next one. And if you're inspired to take on your own fundraising challenge, no matter the scale, you don't have to be quite up to John's scale, whether it's Beatson Cancer Charity's 8K Steps Challenge or something else, then visit beatsoncancercharity.org to get started.